Discover how a chance encounter with a humble mechanic transformed a paralyzed CEO's life forever. Ethan Blake sat in his grand chair, staring out of the window of his luxurious mansion, the sprawling lawn untouched, the sunlight glimmering off the surface of a nearby pond. But the sparkle didn't reach him. Once an athletic powerhouse, he had it all: a flourishing career, a beautiful family, and the adoration of fans. Now, at 45, his world was a prison of silence, stolen by a tragic accident that left him paralyzed from the waist down. Messages of love from his family flooded his phone daily, but they felt hollow. He felt unloved, estranged from a life he used to cherish with every fiber of his being. One day, the weight of despair became unbearable. The need for an oil change in his expensive car, which had grown dusty and neglected, nudged him to step out and re-enter the world. Heart racing, he wheeled himself outside, the sun warming his face, a reminder of simplicity he had forgotten. He pulled into Tommy's garage, the quaint mechanic shop bustling with life and laughter. The place smelled of motor oil, grease, and something that felt like hope. Tommy, in his 50s with salt and pepper hair and strong hands, greeted him with a warm smile that contrasted sharply against Ethan's guarded expression. Their initial small talk felt stiff, but soon morphed into something deeper. Tommy's stories of hard work, of neighbors pitching in to help one another, slowly began to chip away at Ethan's emotional walls. Life can be tough, but the community brings us through, Tommy said, his voice steady and sincere. Each visit brought laughter in the mundane. Tommy's optimism felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. For the first time in years, Ethan felt a flicker of something he thought long extinguished: connection. But then the storm clouds gathered. One gloomy afternoon, while Ethan watched the rain splatter against the shop's window, Tommy revealed the garage was struggling financially, fighting for survival. It was a revelation that shook Ethan to the core, breaking through the fog of his self-pity. This wasn't just a garage. It was a lifeline for Tommy and his family, and the thought of losing it suddenly struck Ethan harder than any tackle he'd ever faced on the field. "You're a good guy, Ethan. You know that." Tommy's words hung in the air. But with every moment spent listening to Tommy's struggles, Ethan began to confront the privileges that wealth had shielded him from: the relentless grind of hardworking people like Tommy just trying to get by. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Ethan was faced with a choice: to help Tommy and risk his own financial comfort, or stand idly by as a once thriving business crumbled. The weight of this decision felt like an avalanche. As he listened to Tommy's youthful joy and unwavering resilience, he realized something monumental. True success isn't measured by wealth, but by the ability to uplift others. In this moment of clarity, tears welled up in Ethan's eyes. This could be a second chance, not just to save Tommy's garage, but to mend the ties with his estranged family, reclaiming the life he lost. Just as he thought he might take a step toward redemption, the phone buzzed ominously. Would Ethan grasp this pivotal chance, or would he let it slip away, leaving him forever in silence? The uncertainty lingered, inviting him to take the plunge into the unknown. Ethan stared at the phone buzzing in his lap, each vibration echoing his internal battle. The screen lit up, flashing messages from his family, each one filled with love and concern. Yet, they felt like distant echoes from a life he could hardly remember. A small part of him longed to retreat into his shell, to ignore everything and sink back into the comfort of his solitude. But Tommy's words rang in his mind. "You're a good guy, Ethan. You know that." He took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. He couldn't ignore the truth any longer. He had been living in a self-imposed exile, while others carried burdens far heavier than his. The flickering hope in Tommy's garage was more essential than his material wealth. It was the heartbeat of a community. Determined, he used his hands to find the phone's screen. With trembling fingers, he navigated to his bank app, his heart racing as he considered how to help. Was he truly ready to take a step that could change everything? Let us do this, he murmured to himself, pressing on his savings account. The numbers seemed daunting, the weight of his decision pressing on his chest. But then he thought of Tommy, the laughter in his garage, the warmth of friendship renewing Ethan's weary spirit. With a few taps, he initiated a transfer a generous sum to help Tommy keep his business afloat. As the confirmation message flashed on the screen, Ethan felt a rush of adrenaline. It wasn't just money he was sending, it was hope, connection, a lifeline thrown from one man to another. Tears streamed down his face. For the first time in years, he found himself smiling, even if only for a fleeting moment. The next day, Ethan rolled himself into the garage, his heart pounding with excitement. Tommy was under a car, wrench in hand, when he heard the familiar sound of wheels rolling toward him. He peered out from beneath the vehicle, the grease smudging his face, almost making him look like a kid at play. "Ethan, what a surprise!" he exclaimed, wiping his hands on a rag and standing up, a look of genuine joy lighting his expression. "I've got something to share," Ethan said, his voice steady but filled with anticipation. Tommy gestured for him to pull closer, curiosity sparkling in his gray eyes. As Ethan recounted the details of his decision, he prepared for the wave of disbelief and joy that washed over his friend. Tommy's eyes widened, mouth agape, as Ethan revealed the transfer he had just made. Wow, I can't even process this yet. Are you sure you want to do this?" Tommy's voice trembled. "I am sure," Ethan replied, his decision firm. "You can't keep this place on your shoulders alone. It matters. You matter." Tommy blinked rapidly, emotion raw on his face. "I just don't know what to say. You don't know how much this means to me." Ethan chuckled softly. "Just say you'll keep it running." As the two men stood surrounded by tools and dusty cars, something more profound was born. Their friendship blossomed, forged in vulnerability and support. It felt good to connect, to stand beside someone who reminded him of what it meant to live with purpose and passion. But just as the laughter filled the air, a momentary silence fell. The garage's phone rang, shattering the joyous atmosphere. They both turned their heads, tension thick in the air as Tommy answered, his brow furrowing at the voice on the other end. "Hey, wait, what do you mean there's been a massive order mix-up?" Tommy's voice raised unconsciously, panic surfacing. Ethan felt that familiar ache of dread creeping back. Would this be another blow to everything they were building? As they stood there, the weight of uncertainty clouding their hopes, Ethan realized that their journey was just beginning and that challenges would come. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead. Would his leap of faith be enough to change the tide? Ethan's heart raced with a newfound determination. The door to new possibilities had just opened, but the question loomed. How far would they both need to go? Tommy hung up the phone, his face falling like a dimming light. "Ethan, this is bad. If we can't get those parts in time, I want to be able to finish the cars for the big contracts. We'll lose everything." The weight of his words settled over them, thick and heavy. Ethan felt his stomach twist. All the hope he had ignited with his contribution seemed now overshadowed by this looming crisis. "What do you need?" he asked, determination creeping into his stride. "Maybe we can find a way around it." "I don't know, man. It's a disaster. I should have checked on the orders earlier. I've been swamped," and Tommy stopped, pinching the bridge of his nose in frustration. "I can't let everyone down. Not again." Ethan's heart raced. He had barely stepped into this new chapter of his life, and suddenly they were teetering on the edge of disaster. Yet, a flicker of inspiration sparked within him. What if we reach out to the community? Maybe they can help us find the parts faster. Or even his pulse quickened with every potential solution that sprang into his mind. "We could crowdsource the funds to pay for express shipping, or Ethan." Tommy cut him off, shaking his head. "That sounds great, but it's not that simple. Some of these parts are backordered. We need to move mountains to get this done. Time isn't on our side." Ethan bit his lip, contemplating the situation further. The delicate tendrils of camaraderie they'd just begun to weave felt threatened by this abrupt twist. But instead of giving in to despair, he embraced the adrenaline that flooded his veins. "We'll make it work. Let us start making calls." Tommy raised an eyebrow, a flicker of hope mingling with disbelief in his gaze. "You think we can rally enough support?" "I mean, I love the enthusiasm, but just trust me," Ethan replied firmly, utilizing the authority of his business experience. Let us put the word out. We have to make this garage a rallying point. People care about this place. They've already backed it in the past. And so they did. They opened up the garage door wide, bringing in the light and boosting their efforts to reach out. Slowly at first, Ethan posted on social media a call for help from the neighborhood. He crafted messages that were both urgent and inspirational, highlighting what Tommy's garage meant to everyone around. It's about community, Ethan typed fervently, his fingers flying. Let us keep hope alive together. Your support can change everything. Within hours, notifications poured in. Friends, acquaintances, even those who had once stopped in for minor fixes began responding. It was a sudden surge of support that, while unexpected, solidified Ethan's resolve. Look at this, Tommy shouted, pointing to the screen as messages flooded in. People want to help. I can't believe it. Ethan felt something warm bloom in his chest. This wasn't just about fixing cars anymore. It was about people coming together, proving that no one was alone in their struggles. The garage was more than metal and grease. It was a beating heart of the neighborhood. Just as they settled into a rhythm of hope, phone calls and messages igniting a fire of possibility, a longtime customer stepped into the garage. It was Jade, a local businesswoman known for running the coffee shop just down the street. What is going on, Tommy? I heard there was trouble. Her eyes flickered between the two men, concern etched on her face. Everything's under control, sort of, Ethan replied, trying to mask the underlying panic. We're just working on that order mix-up. Help is rolling in. Jade crossed her arms, her expression shifting to determination. What do you need? We can host a fundraiser. Get everyone here for a local car show-a-thon. Ethan exchanged a glance with Tommy, both men recognizing the spark of a viable solution. They'd never considered such an event before, but they both felt that this level of enthusiasm could sustain their mission and perhaps create lasting change. We can totally do this, Ethan exclaimed, his excitement infectious. However, behind his enthusiasm lay a simmering fear. This was a chance to not just salvage Tommy's business, but to transform their community through shared dreams and collective efforts. But would it be enough to truly rally them all? Ethan knew it would take everything he had, and the question loomed, could they genuinely pull it off before time ran out? The next morning, the sun peeked through the garage windows, casting warm beams across the dusty floor. Ethan arrived early, his heart pounding with a mixed bag of excitement and fear. Today was the day they would dive headfirst into organizing the car show-a-thon. Time was slipping away, and it was crucial to channel every ounce of energy into making this event a success. Morning. Tommy greeted him, a hint of his usual warmth and determination shining through his anxious demeanor. Did you sleep at all? Not really. Ethan rubbed his eyes and chuckled. I kept thinking about how we can promote the event. We need posters, a plan for the day, and a way to get people excited about it. Tommy nodded, pulling out a stack of papers. I think we're going to need vendors too. If there's food and drinks, people will stick around longer. Ethan felt a swell of determination. Okay, I'll hit up the local businesses. Jade can help with the coffee shop connection. There's bound to be someone who want to showcase their food. As they pored over ideas, phone calls started flowing in. The community buzzed with enthusiasm. Friends reached out, joining the effort in ways Ethan hadn't even imagined, offering tents, a sound system, even a local band to play. Their excitement was infectious. As the hours rolled on, a sense of hope ignited. Later that afternoon, while handing flyers to neighbors, something extraordinary struck Ethan. He felt connected to something larger than himself. The laughter and chatter around him transformed his anxiety into a shared energy, sparking a belief that they could genuinely pull this off. Ethan, Jade called out, running up to him. She was flushed, a look of exhilaration on her face. I just got off the phone with a local radio station. They want to promote the car show live. Ethan's eyes widened in disbelief. That's amazing. I can't believe how fast this is coming together. Neither can I, Jade said, clapping her hands gleefully. And I've got some banners made. We'll make sure everyone knows about it. As the day faded into evening, the gravity of their task loomed large. Ethan's phone buzzed constantly, and soon, it became clear, they were gaining traction. Yet, as the supportive messages poured in, so did doubts. What if it wasn't enough? What if not enough people showed up? He swallowed the surge of anxiety creeping in. Hey, Tommy said, interrupting his thoughts. You okay? Ethan forced a smile. Yeah, just thinking about the turnout. We need this to work. Remember, Tommy replied, placing a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder. This is about bringing people together. It's about community. No matter what happens, we're already winning. As night fell, the stars twinkled above tiny glimmers of hope. Ethan took a deep breath, looking around the bustling garage, now filled with colleagues, friends, and neighbors, each contributing their strength. The next day would be crucial, the culmination of their hard work, the testing ground of their trust in one another. Would it all come to fruition, or would it collapse under pressure? In that moment of uncertainty, he felt the weight of what was at stake. Ethan looked at Tommy, determination solidifying in his chest. No matter what, I'll keep pushing. We owe it to everyone. Absolutely, Tommy said, glancing back at the workspace that had become a beacon of hope. But just as they wrapped up for the night, a vivid flash of headlights illuminated the garage. A sleek car pulled up, its engine purring softly. In an instant, the heavy shadows of doubt flickered back to life as a familiar figure stepped out. It was Alex, the CEO Ethan had once worked for, and a man who didn't easily show up unannounced. What are you doing here? Ethan asked, shock coursing through him. I heard about the event, Alex replied, his expression unreadable. I want to help. With the community growing stronger, the stakes now held a deeper layer of uncertainty. What secrets lay behind Alex's sudden appearance? Ethan stood frozen for a moment, mentally scrambling to process Alex's unexpected arrival. Memories of their past flashed through his mind, meetings full of ambition, successes intertwined with pressures, and finally, the moment he walked away from it all. Would this man bring old troubles back to haunt him? What kind of help are you offering? Ethan finally managed to ask, his voice steadier than he felt. I've got connections, Alex said, glancing around the garage, taking in the makeshift buzz of activity. If we can get more media coverage, maybe even a few sponsors, this could really be something special. Tommy stepped forward, his brow furrowing. And what's in it for you, Alex? You've never cared about community events before. Alex's lips twitched into what could almost be a smile, or just a reflex of discomfort. I've changed, Tommy. You of all people should know that. I guess we'll see, Tommy responded, crossing his arms. Ethan could sense the tension sizzling between them. It was like a match ready to ignite. Ethan glanced at Tommy, searching for a hint of support. Look, I appreciate the offer, but we've already got a plan in place. We've got this. But do you really? Alex shot back, a glimmer of challenge in his eyes. Do you think you can pull this off with limited resources? I can expand your reach in ways you can't even imagine. Ethan felt the itch of doubt creeping back, that nagging worry that perhaps Alex was right. The truth was, they might not have all the tools they needed. The supportive texts and excited chatter felt fleeting compared to the long, sprawling list of hurdles they still faced. Maybe we could use some extra help, Ethan said slowly, glancing around at the faces of those who were putting so much faith in him. But I need to know you're sincere. No more games. I'm here, aren't I? Alex shrugged, an uncharacteristic vulnerability evident in his posture. Just let me help, and we can make it bigger than you've ever imagined. Ethan hesitated. The thought of collaborating with his former boss was unsettling, but he also knew that every ounce of support counted and could be the difference between success and failure. Okay, Ethan said, cautiously, but you follow our lead. This is about our community, not just a business venture. Agreed, Alex said, nodding. He seemed somewhat relieved, but Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that the past had a way of lurking just beneath the surface. With a newfound resolve, Ethan focused on immediate tasks at hand. They huddled together, sketching out strategies with Alex's help while trying to merge their existing plans with his suggestions. As the evening wore on, excitement filled the garage again, mixing with disbelief that this strange alliance was forming. But as they packed up the last of their material and took one last look at the glowing banners, an unsettling feeling took root in Ethan's stomach. Could trust be built on shifting sands? Are you sure about this? Tommy whispered as they stepped outside, the night air cool against their skin. I don't know, Ethan replied, staring back into the dim light of the garage. But the stakes are high, and we need everything we can get. As they drove home, Ethan's reflection mirrored the sky, dark and sprawling ahead. A single question nagged at him. What would be the cost of success, and would it be worth it? The following day, as the event drew closer, an unexpected email popped up in Ethan's inbox, an invitation for an exclusive meeting with a potential sponsor that Alex had arranged. As he stared at it, the weight of choice pressed on him. Would he walk a path he thought he had left, or embrace this twist of fate? Tension knotted in his gut as he realized one thing. This could change everything, but would it be for better or worse? Ethan stared at the screen, his heart racing. The email's subject line flickered with promise and peril, drawing him in like moth to a flame. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure whether to accept or decline. Was he really ready to go down this road again? He replayed the last conversation with Alex in his mind, grasping for any hint of deception, but all he found was the same troubled face he once knew. "Hey," Tommy's voice broke through his thoughts. "You good?" Ethan turned, forcing a smile. "Just thinking about that meeting." Tommy leaned closer, curiosity flickering across his face. "You're not seriously considering it, are you?" "I don't know. Alex might have some good leads. We could use the exposure for the event. Or he could be using you," Tommy warned, arms crossed. "Remember why you walked away from him. It wasn't just about a job." The words hung in the air, thick with truth. Ethan recalled the late hours, the pressure that twisted friendships into thin ropes. Yet, wasn't he desperate enough to put it all aside? The stakes of failure felt impossibly high, yet the thought of allowing this chance to slip away gnawed at him. "Look, we can't let our past define our future," Ethan said, his voice firmer now. "Maybe Alex is different. Maybe we both are." Tommy shook his head, skepticism still etched in his features. "Just be careful, all right? I don't want to see you get hurt again." Ethan nodded, appreciating Tommy's concern, a reminder that he wasn't alone in this. But then the email pinged again, pulling him back. He thought of the community, the kids counting on them. Taking a deep breath, he clicked on the invitation, his decision made. When the day of the meeting arrived, a light drizzle fell over the city. Ethan's nerves danced as he walked toward the modern office building. He couldn't shake the feeling that each step brought him closer to a decision that could wreck everything he was trying to build. Inside, he was greeted by a sleek receptionist who led him to a glass conference room. The walls reflected the gray day outside, but the air was electric with unspoken possibilities. A moment later, Alex entered, looking every bit the composed businessman Ethan once knew. Despite the past that loomed over them, he felt the familiar tightening in his stomach. "Glad you came," Alex said, his voice steady but with an edge of relief. Ethan shuffled in his seat. "Thanks for setting this up. He paused, searching for the right words. "I need to know that this is real, that you're here for the right reasons." "I am," Alex replied earnestly. "This isn't just business for me anymore. It's about helping someone break through. I see what you're doing, and I want to be a part of it. Let me prove it to you." Ethan studied Alex's face for sincerity, reminding himself that trust was a fragile thing, easily shattered. But could he really risk everything on a feeling? As the meeting proceeded, Ethan felt a shift. Alex unveiled connections to major sponsors, compelling ideas that painted a vivid picture of potential. With each proposal, the gap in Ethan's doubt narrowed, making space for hope. Suddenly, things felt possible, bursting with promise. But then came the unexpected. Just as they finished discussing the sponsorship deals, Alex leaned forward, his expression serious. "Ethan, there is something else I need to talk to you about. It's about the event, but also something personal." Ethan felt his heart quicken. What could this be? The promise of support now tasted bittersweet, like uncertainty mixed with hope. "Is it about your past or mine?" Ethan asked, tension tightening the air between them. Alex hesitated, and Ethan sensed the weight of their shared history looming over the conversation. What revelation awaited him? Would it shake the fragile trust that seemed to be forming, or would it finally mend the wounds of their past? Ethan held his breath, bracing for whatever would come next, as the door of possibilities swung open before him. Was this meeting truly the start of something new, or just another dangerous turn in a complicated journey? Ethan's pulse raced as Alex gathered his thoughts, the silence thick between them. The ticking clock on the wall seemed to mock him, each second echoing in a room that felt suddenly too small, too charged. Alex swallowed hard, searching for the right words. I was going to say that I've been looking into the foundations we discussed, the ones to sponsor the event. But there is something deeper I want to share. He leaned back, rubbing his temples like he was trying to massage away a headache. It's about why I left my old job. Ethan raised an eyebrow, leaning in closer. Go on. When I walked away, it wasn't just the pressure, Alex said, his voice tinged with regret. I was suffocating. I lost myself in the corporate machine. But when you left too, it startled me. I realized we were in this together, and maybe I made it worse for both of us. Ethan felt a rush of warmth. Hearing Alex's honesty, a flicker of understanding sparked in his chest. What do you mean by that? Because I got caught up in the competition, and I prioritized numbers over people. I wanted respect more than connections, and I forgot what we stood for together, Alex admitted, eyes clouded with remorse. I'm sorry for that, Ethan. Ethan's heart tugged. This was the Alex he missed, the friend who cared, the partner who dreamed. But they had lost so much time. You've changed, haven't you? I'm working on it, Alex replied. And I want to rebuild that trust, if you'll let me. Not just for us, but for everyone we can help. He sat forward, his brow furrowed in determination. I can bring more than just sponsors. I want to help guide emerging talent. That way, we can truly make an impact. Ethan nodded, the weight of Alex's revelations settling in. But as hope swelled, a nagging doubt wouldn't let go. This all sounds amazing, Alex, but what's in it for you? I don't want some shadowy agenda lurking behind your smile. Alex took a deep breath. For me? I want to redeem my past mistakes, to show that I can fight for something good. I want purpose. And if that means putting in the work to help you succeed, then that's what I'll do. A flicker of hope ignited within Ethan, but along with it came the fear of getting burned again. Could he trust this version of Alex? Just as he opened his mouth to respond, the room shook with the sudden blare of Alex's phone vibrating against the conference table. Sorry, Alex mumbled, glancing at the screen. His face paled, and a look of urgency flickered over him. It's my mother. Ethan's heart sank as he saw Alex's struggle. Is everything okay? I don't know, Alex replied, slipping into a state of distress. She has been sick, and I need to take this. Can we pause? Ethan nodded, his mind racing. While he sympathized, the chaos of the moment shifted everything. As Alex stepped out to take the call, Ethan couldn't help but feel the air of uncertainty wrap around him again, wrapped in confusion. The stakes suddenly seemed higher and the past more fragile. What if this was all too little too late? He turned to the window, watching the gray clouds roll by, a storm brewing on the horizon. When Alex returned, Ethan sensed the gravity in the air had changed. I have to go, Alex said, his voice taut. My mom needs me. But after this, I want to sit down and have a real talk, to lay everything on the table. Ethan took a deep breath, knowing that this was only the beginning. All right, just I'll need to know you're in this for the long haul. Alex nodded, guilt and hope mingling on his face. Just as their shared past threatened to pull them apart again, a sense of determination sparked in both of them. As Alex hurried out, Ethan whispered to himself, what now? The possibilities loomed ahead, a path of uncertainty stretching before him. Would he grasp the chance that lay ahead, or would the weight of history keep him shackled? With the clouds looming overhead, he couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change again. Ethan stood alone in the conference room, the weight of Alex's words tumbling through his mind. The past few years felt like a blur, crowded with missed chances and lost friendships. He wanted to believe Alex had changed. He wanted to reach out, to snatch at the possibility that things could be different this time. A flicker of doubt skittered across his mind, reminding him of Alex's competitive edge and how it had strained their bond. Pulling his phone from his pocket, Ethan texted Alex a quick note, uncertain of how to convey everything in a few words. Take care of your mom. We'll talk when you're ready. He hit send and tried to shake off the tightness in his chest. He stepped away from the table, glancing at the awards lining the walls, the accolades they once dreamed of pursuing together. They now felt like ghosts, each plaque whispering of a collaboration that had almost been as he walked to the window. He couldn't ignore how quickly life shifted. For years, the chaos of work had consumed him. The thought of stepping into something new, something potentially risky, made him both excited and terrified. What if this was a turning point? What if he could finally make a positive change? The rain began to pour outside, a steady rhythm against the glass that matched his racing thoughts. He grabbed a stack of papers, intending to revisit the project they'd been working on, but he found himself unable to focus. It wasn't just the storm outside, it was the chaos in his heart. Minutes felt like hours as he wandered around the empty room, replaying Alex's words about wanting to rebuild trust and help others. This wasn't just another venture. It was a way to reconnect, to find meaning again. But could he do it without holding on to all the past hurt? The door swung open, and Lena, his assistant, peeked in. She had a worried look on her face. "Ethan, everything okay? You don't look so good." He forced a smile, trying to ease the tension. "I'm fine. Just thinking." "Thinking about Alex?" She raised an eyebrow knowingly. He sighed deeply. "Yeah, and all the things we used to dream about. It feels complicated now." She stepped inside, shutting the door behind her. "You know, I've seen a lot of people come and go at this company. It's like they lose sight of what matters. But you carry that passion, that spark. Don't lose it like they did." Ethan's heart warmed at her encouragement. "Thanks, Lena. I needed to hear that. Just remember, people can change. They can surprise you." Her words lingered as she left, and Ethan tried to shake off the heaviness. He turned back to the window, watching the rain soften into a gentle mist. There was a sense of vulnerability in sharing his dreams with Alex again, but perhaps it was necessary. Sometimes, the hardest roads led to the most beautiful destinations. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again. A text from Alex. "I'm at the hospital now. I'll need some time, but I want to talk this week. Let us not lose sight of our goals." Ethan felt relief wash over him. Hope flickered anew within him, but uncertainty nipped at his heels like a shadow. The uncertainty of what lay ahead felt both exhilarating and terrifying as the storm outside began to subside. Ethan wondered how far they could push against the currents of their past. Would they succeed in mending what had been broken, or would history repeat itself once again? Just when he thought he could breathe, his phone rang again. Not a text this time, but a call from Alex's mother. The tightness returned to his chest as he answered, unsure of what awaited him on the other end. What news could shake their world once more? Ethan took a shaky breath as he pressed the phone to his ear, his fingers trembling against the cool surface. "Hello?" he managed to say, his heart pounding like a drum. "Ethan." Alex's mother's voice came through, shaky and filled with worry. "I don't know how to say this, but Alex is in surgery. The doctors are trying to stabilize her after the accident." The words hung heavy in the air, palpable pain mixed with urgency. Ethan's mind raced. His stomach dropped. Alex had always been so vibrant, a force of nature. The idea of something happening to her felt unbearable. What happened? There was a car accident. The news hit Ethan like a punch to the gut. It felt surreal. Just hours ago, they were discussing dreams, rebuilding trust, planning their future. How could everything change so quickly? "Is she going to be okay?" "I don't know," Alex's mother said, her voice cracked with grief. "They're doing everything they can. I'm at the hospital. I'll be there." The words tumbled out before he could think. Determination fueled him, even as fear loomed. He couldn't waste a moment. He hung up and rushed to grab his coat. The rain outside had lessened, but the world felt heavy, weighed down by uncertainty. Each step towards the exit felt like climbing a mountain. Memories of laughter and shared dreams echoed in his mind, now tainted with the thought of loss. The ride to the hospital was a blur. Ethan stared out the window, watching the raindrops race down the glass. He replayed their last conversation in his head, wishing he had said more, wishing he had done something differently. Upon arriving, he rushed into the lobby, dodging hospital visitors and nurses who paused to stare at him. Finding Alex's mother, her face drawn and pale, he felt an immediate wave of compassion. She seemed smaller than he remembered, engulfed in the worry that made her seem almost fragile. "Ethan," she acknowledged, tears brimming in her eyes. "Thank you for coming." They say it could take hours. Her voice trailed off, and he could feel the weight of her despair. He reached out instinctively, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I'm here. We'll get through this together." They took a seat in the waiting area, the sterile smell of antiseptics swirling around them. Time moved differently in hospitals, like a slow flood, filled with anxiety and dread. They shared a silence that spoke volumes, both holding on to hope against the odds. Finally, her phone buzzed, slicing through the tension. It was a text from a family member watching over Alex's younger siblings. She frowned, her jaw tightening, and he could see the worry etched on her face. That small glance felt like a window into her soul, revealing her struggle and fears. Ethan wanted to ease her pain, to let her know things would be okay, but nothing could guarantee that right now. Would Alex get through this? What would it mean for their plans? As if sensing his inner turmoil, Alex's mother turned to him. Do you think she'll be able to fight this? She always has. The question hit hard. Searching for words, Ethan felt a surge of courage, despite his own fears. She's strong. She has a lot to fight for. Just then, the doors at the end of the hallway swung open, and a doctor stepped through. Ethan's heart raced, dread pulsing through his veins. Ethan, the doctor called. I need to speak with you and Alex's mother. In that moment, everything shifted again. The weight of the unknown loomed larger than life, and he braced himself against it. Was this the moment that would change everything for them all? Ethan took a deep breath, forcing down the knot in his throat. The doctor's expression was calm but serious, like an anchor in a raging storm. He shared a glance with Alex's mother, their eyes mirroring the escalating anxiety swirling around them. Is she okay? Ethan stammered, his heart pounding. The doctor hesitated, and Ethan felt a chill sweep over him. We did everything we could. She's stable now, but she's in recovery. There's a long road ahead. Relief washed over Ethan, mixed with the knowledge of the struggle that lay in wait. Alex would have to fight, and he'd be right beside her. I want to see her, Alex's mother said, her voice trembling but firm. Of course, the doctor said gently. Just be prepared. She'll need time to heal. There's one more thing. Ethan's heart raced again as the doctor continued. Alex spoke your name as we worked on her. It seemed important to her that you were here. His heart swelled. Despite everything, she felt that connection even in the depths of pain. I'm here now, he said, more to himself than anyone else. An hour later, Ethan found himself standing outside Alex's hospital room. The sterile smell of antiseptic lingered in the air, mingling with a raw sense of hope. He took a deep breath before entering, but as he stepped through the doorway, the sight before him defiantly thumped against his chest. Her frail figure lay on the bed, tubes snaking around her, a stark reminder of their earlier conversation. Alex's voice faltered. Her eyes flickered open. For a moment, fear and pain plagued her features, but seeing him also sparked a tiny smile, as if light had pierced through the darkness. Ethan, she whispered, voice hoarse yet full of warmth like the sun trying to break through clouds. Yeah, it's me. He rushed to her side, gently taking her hand. The warmth in their connection sparked within him, igniting something hopeful. I thought I lost you, she murmured, eyes brimming with tears. You can't get rid of me that easily, he replied, squeezing her hand tighter. A swell of emotion filled his chest as he looked deep into her eyes, feeling their bond reignite even through fear. I'm sorry for everything that led to this, Alex said, a hint of pain crossing her expression. I should have been more present. I didn't realize I know, Ethan interrupted softly. We both lost ourselves along the way, but we can find our way back. Together. This moment felt like redemption, the chance to rewrite their history, step by step. The challenges ahead wouldn't be easy, but the foundation of their bond was still there. It felt like the promise of a new beginning, not just for them, but for everyone they could touch. Days turned into weeks as Alex fought her way through recovery. She had physical therapy, and every small milestone was celebrated like a victory. Ethan stayed close, sharing laughter, fears, and dreams. The bond between them solidified, blossoming into a vibrant tapestry, intertwining their hopes for the future. Meanwhile, back at the garage, Tommy was thriving. With Alex's connections, they organized a spectacular fundraiser that brought the community together in ways Ethan had never imagined. It wasn't just about fixing cars, but weaving a web of support that embraced every soul in the neighborhood. The car show-a-thon buzzed with energy, vibrant banners fluttering against the bright blue sky. Families poured in, laughter echoing, stories shared over sizzling hot dogs and coffee. As he watched the community rally, Ethan felt the swell of gratitude swell in his heart, realizing that they had managed to create something beautiful from chaos. Alex joined them once she was ready, her spirit shining brightly through her challenges. Seeing her standing side by side with Tommy, their friendship solidifying into something that felt like family, made his heart soar. She uplifted the community, showing them what rebuilding really meant. "I'm proud of us," Ethan said, turning to Alex amidst the joyful chaos. Her eyes sparkled, her smile radiant and true. "We've only just begun." But even as they celebrated their victories, they remained grounded, committed to helping others rise above their struggles, transforming pain into purpose. In the end, Ethan realized this was not just about rebuilding a garage or salvaging an old friendship. It was about embracing life after despair, about finding a deeper connection through struggle, and becoming a family in the process. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues across the gathering, Ethan felt his heart swell with new possibilities. They had turned the tide together, and now they were a beacon of hope for all those who had lost their way. Ethan looked around at the faces that had come together, the laughter, the support. He knew this moment marked the beginning. They were stronger now, and the journey ahead was glittering with potential. With renewed inspiration, Ethan whispered softly, "This is just the start." And it was. Now, if you felt moved by this story, this is the moment to take action. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will uplift your spirit and inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Show your support for these powerful transformations and help us reach even more hearts. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. How did it touch you? And don't wait, not even one more second. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support makes all the difference.